Okay, so first, how is everybody doing today?
Good.
Good.
Good, I want to see that energy. So, right now I have to introduce you to the fall. And when I show you these mums, what do we think of? The fall. Don't worry, you'll still have some hot weather. In fact, I'll really give you some good news. Tomorrow it's going to be 90 degrees again. So for you hot weather fans, don't worry, the summer is still here. I'm just being the guy who's delivering the fall to you. Now, how many people here are familiar with these mums? And everybody, right?
Yes.
They're pretty hardy.
Aren't they? These are the hardy mums. What if I were to tell you that this year these mums are not just being used for beautiful things for the fall, but I'm starting to see places using this for social distancing. Because, you know, the pandemic going on right now, a lot of outdoor restaurants, I don't know about the Dix Hills Diners, but a lot of diners by me in Syosset, the On Parade, the Colony Diner, right now, they are using these mums as dividers. So when people walk in the diner, they use it as a social distancing thing. A lot of people have, I'm looking at you here, and I'm sure a lot of people have gatherings in their backyard. One thing I've been to with my fiance Janice is we've been to people's backyards, and we're seeing them starting to use these mums now for social distancing because they want to keep people a little bit distant who they don't know well. So these mums in the upcoming weeks are going to be a great tool for social distancing. How you take care of these mums, it's very easy. I would say this plant is about 40% full. It should last you to about October. They usually go for about 2.5 months. The cooler the weather, the better it is. The most important thing you can do with these mums is water them. The one thing they don't like to go is past the day without watering. So water them
I'll try to
every
put
day.
them in if they want to start. Yeah.
Any
For a
questions?
couple minutes,
Feel
but
free
then
to
I have to go a
interrupt me.
little bit
Just
late.
yank me and interrupt me. I want that. Right now, the best thing I can tell you is everybody likes to plant these in full sun. I do too, I'll admit that. But I would say if you want them to last longer, put them in part sun, part shade, because right now the temperatures are in the 90s to high 80s. So if you want these to last longer, I would say part sun, part shade. Water every day. Here's my answer for fertilization. I don't believe in fertilizing these mums at all because guess why? If you fertilize these mums, it's going to burn the roots. They have 2.5 months. That's it. In October, get new mums. Could these mums be grown indoors? Nah, they won't last. Maybe a few days, but trust me. Have them outside. Enjoy them. They're great border plants. This year, you're going to see a lot of places use these plants as, you know, for the social distancing at the pandemic. I know by me, a couple of supermarkets, ShopRite, Whole Foods in Jericho, they're starting to have these mums out there. They have other plants out there as well for social distancing. So you may see a lot of these. The Whole Foods in Comac hasn't done it yet, but you may start seeing that happen in the fall. So just wanted to let you know. Any questions about this plant? Okay, now I have a question for you. What if I were to tell you right now, I can show you a mum. Most mums, the hardy mums, they will last you to October. But what if there was a mum that I will tell you could last you to December? Not only last you to December, but you can bring it indoors and it will last you all year. You could keep it indoors till May, bring it outdoors again, and then it stays outdoors until next December. Or you can make it a permanent indoor plant. What if I were to introduce you to the New England florist mum? This mum is a plant that could stay with you all year round. This is not an annual. This is not a biannual. This is something that could stay with you as a year-round plant. And if you want, this plant is going to be, I want to show you a good view of this. This plant is going to be given as a prize on Friday. So whoever goes home with this plant, if you want, you could put this in your house, make it an indoor plant, and it could be with you for the next 10, 15, 20 years.
Wow.
Very easily.
Wow.
Somebody has a question, fire away. Okay, so right now, that's the big thing about this mum, is that it stays with people for a long time. It came out in 2014, this mum. They were invented in New England. That's how come they're called the New England Florist mum. And how I got used to this mum started with it 2 years ago. I've given this talks for 6 years, never paid attention to these mums. But 2018, two things happened that got me very interested in these mums. I was giving a talk in the East Meadow Library, and somebody said to me, Paul, I keep having to throw away my mums in October. It's August, October. Do you have any mums that last you throughout the fall? And at that time, I heard of a mum, but I wasn't sure. So I went to the store. Then I have a client in Comac, actually, if you know where the 7-Eleven is on Vets Highway. I do a few office buildings there. One of them has an atrium. And the owner said, Paul, we have mums outside, but I don't like the indoor mums. Do you have a mum similar to what we have outdoors that can stay year round? I said, sure, I'll get you. And that's how I came up with the New England Florist mums. The good news is they will last you forever. The bad news is they only come in 4-inch and 6-inch. So if you're looking to get a 12-inch or a 14-inch, they're not that big yet. They're not in the big size pots yet. That's the disadvantage of it. But right now, I have them in offices that I do. I have them in atriums, and I've actually given to people as gifts for their houses. And a lot of people, believe it or not, keep it as houseplants. They actually would rather have it as a houseplant than an indoor plant. But it's up to you, because truthfully, I like it on the patio. It looks very nice. It's very colorful, but for some reason, people like it indoors. Now,
Paul, I have a question. I don't have enough sunlight indoors to keep it indoors, but
that's okay.
If I was to go and look at the mums that a nursery or a supermarket is selling, how do I tell whether it's a New England one or the Hardy?
Okay, they're not going to be in the supermarkets, but by you, there's a Home Depot on Jericho Turnpike, a little bit east of you. They have these mums, and you ask them for the New England Florist mum. They have them. They're about $4.99, I believe.
Okay.
And those are the ones you want. And what you do, let's say you get lucky and you win this plant. Let's say Susan calls you and she says, congratulations, you won the New England mum. I'm looking at you right now, and you have more than enough light for this mum in your place. It doesn't need to be direct sunlight. Trust me on that.
Artificial light.
That's okay. I have an office building in Comac right by 7-Eleven. It's right by the Sunken Meadow Parkway. That atrium does not get a lot of, it has no sunlight at all, and it's low to medium light. And I have about 5 mums in this atrium right now. 3 of them have been there since 2017. We never got rid of them. Only 2 of them did I have to change.
Oh, okay.
So, and for you, let's say you keep it in the house. Water it once a week. Your lighting is fine. The only thing I'm going to tell you, which I usually shoot down all the time, fertilize it twice a year. You're doing that so you can keep getting the flowers.
Yeah.
So if you pick any 6 months you want, September, March. And the other thing I'll tell you, just every few months, add a little bit of soil to the pot, because as you water, the soil will evaporate. If you do that, this plant will be with you for a very long time. It's pet friendly, so anybody who's worried, is this going to be poisonous to their dogs or cats, you're totally safe. Your cats are not going to try eating the flowers. They're not interested in mums, so you're totally safe for there. And basically, one thing I like about this mum is it's problem-free. The only problem I can see right now that a lot of people have done in past years is they overwater them. Water it a little bit. Don't overwater it. This is a plant that does not need a lot of water, unlike the hardy mums, which I just showed you. They need a lot of water. This is a whole different ball game right here. And remember, this isn't going to be thrown out in October. This plant is going to be a year-round plant with you. So you can have this in your house, Barbara, for many years. And if people want it outdoors, keep it outdoors till December, but bring it in December, and you can put it out again in April. So that's the story with this mum right here. I got another plant that people are going to ask me, why is this being talked about as a fall garden plant? This is a hibiscus, and it's either a Florida plant or a spring and summer plant. Why are we talking about this for a fall garden plant? Well, let me ask you this. What if I were to tell you there's a variety they invented? It's called the Hawaiian Punch hibiscus. It's really cool. See, I can show you the sign. Hawaiian Punch hibiscus. And I could lie to you. I could tell you I got this in Hicks Nursery or I got this in Heritage Farms. But the truth is, I got this in the Home Depot. They start coming out with this in 2018. And here's the name again, Hawaiian Punch hibiscus. It's a new variety. It came out about 2 years ago. And the reason it came out is for two reasons. Usually around, I don't know, September, October, the hibiscuses start to go. People start cutting it back and they start bringing it in the house. People want to keep the hibiscuses longer than just September, October. They want to keep it until, let's say, November and December. This could be outside until November or December, until the snow comes. It could withstand up to 30 degrees, this hibiscus. A regular hibiscus, if you let it sit outside with 30 degrees, look at your plant the next day, they ain't gonna be too happy. But this hibiscus right here will last you right up until December. Now, here's a very interesting thing I'm gonna tell you. What if most of you, I'm gonna guess, will have hibiscuses, bring it in the house in the winter. Sometimes it lives, sometimes it dies. But what if I were to tell you, if you put this, and this is going to be a prize also Friday, so whoever wins this hibiscus, what if I were to tell you, you could put this in your house right now, and it needs light. You can't have it in a low light situation, but if you have a medium light situation and a high light situation, this plant could stay with you. And the reason you want the medium or the high light is the flowers. I suggest very strongly not planting it in a bigger pot. The easier it is, the smaller it is, the easier it is to take care of. That's very important. This is not your regular hibiscus. This is the Hawaiian Punch version, and it's a smaller hibiscus. It's meant for two reasons, to be indoors or to withstand the cold, because a lot of people want to keep the hibiscuses past the summertime. And I have a lot of clients who have wanted hibiscuses for their offices, and I've gotten them. Problem is, some of them live, some of them die, they're too big. Well, we have a solution now. This one, the dwarf hibiscuses, and you know what people like? When you go into waiting room, it's sitting on their table right there. And it doesn't get any bigger than this. So imagine you walk, somebody comes into your house, you get a nice little decorative container for this, and they see this. It's a nice gift. And what's really nice is your dogs and cats are not, it's not poisonous to your dogs or cats, so you're safe there. But more important is they're not going to eat the plant. So this plant is pet-free. There's three things you need to know about this. I'll speak about it outdoors first, indoors second. Outdoors, you're going to water it every day. Put it in full light. Put it in part sun, part shade. Don't put it in oil shade. Oil shade is no good. In the house, you water it once every 6 days, and you can put it in part sun, part shade. The two most important things after that is always, every few months, fill up the soil a little bit, because as you water it, the soil will go down. And I would say, I probably would not do it as much, but I'll say every 6 months, fertilize the plant. So right now, whoever goes home with it today, on Friday, fertilize it maybe in September. Give it a few weeks, fertilize it in September, fertilize it in March, every 6 months. And you're doing it for one reason. You're doing it for the flowers. I am usually dead set against fertilizing. I have hibiscuses, and I probably will not fertilize mine, but I'm going to just say for the safe side, fertilize it every 6 months. Too much fertilizer will burn the roots, so no more than twice a year would be my suggestion. And right now, I would say that one other feature about this plant is It's a great gift. If you're going to somebody's house, you want to get them a nice gift, get a nice plant like this, get them a nice decorative container, and you've just made a hit. Okay, any questions about this nice friendly plant right here? Adrian?
Paul, I received hibiscus as a Mother's Day gift last year,
Yes,
and I brought it indoors into the family room, so it's in a corner where it gets double window light and
Yes.
family room door light. The plant was 2 foot tall. It's now over 6 foot tall.
wow.
4-inch leaves, but no flowers.
Okay, here's what you do. You need more flowers, get some Miracle Grow spikes. How big is it? What size pot is it? Is it a 10 inch, a 6 inch? What size pot is it in?
Oh, I transplanted it, so it must be in a good sized pot.
Okay, when you got the Miracle Grow, take two of the sticks, put one on each side of the pot, and that will definitely promote the flowers. The reason
Miracle Grow sticks?
Yeah, I'll show you that in a couple of minutes, but I could see it's missing that nutrient. That's very common with the hibiscuses. And the fertilizer will definitely take care of it. In a few weeks, you'll start to get flowers.
Sometimes it gets an occasional yellow leaf. It does need a great deal of water. I water it every other day or every 3 days.
Right now, let's see, it's indoors. And how often do you get yellow leaves? Just rarely, or is it a regular occurrence?
Let's say every other day, every 3 days. Not many,
Okay.
maybe 1 or 2.
That's not too bad. I would say for the hibiscus, if it's indoors and it's getting the sunlight, maybe every other day. It seems to have a good watering system. It will go through phases. I think the fertilizer will help with that. Remember, hibiscus is a tropical plant. They're from Florida. This is a different story. So you will get those yellow leaves. But if you're only getting 1 or 2, it's not too bad. But I think the fertilizer should help because it's also missing some nutrients.
It did produce red flowers.
It produced red flowers?
Red.
Oh, I love those. I have that on my terrace, the hibiscus. It's about just under 4 feet, and it's a bush, but it's giving me a lot of red flowers this year. Those are really pretty, those flowers.
Well, this plant is now, as I say, a tree. Fortunately, I have a 9-foot ceiling because this plant is now 6 feet or so.
Well, the one thing to remember about the hibiscus, what I tell everybody is you control how tall it gets, the plant. So if you don't want it getting any taller, you got to control it at the top. So I say, let's say it gets to 7 feet, Adrian, and you say, I don't want it to grow anymore. That's when you got to, start cutting things off that grow past 7 feet. And you could still have a beautiful full tree, but you decide how tall the hibiscus tree gets. For me, on my terrace, I don't want my hibiscus bush getting more than 4.5 feet. So once it gets past 4.5 feet, I start trimming it so it doesn't get any taller. So if you got to choose your height, so let's say you have a 9-foot ceiling, it's 6 feet now. So if you don't want it to go more than 7.5 feet, once it reaches that limit, you got to, make sure you cut it so it doesn't get any taller. That's the one beautiful thing about hibiscus is that we can control the growth of the plant.
Can the cuttings be propagated if put in water?
I would say my advice, it could be put in water, but you know what I would do? I just get a pot of Miracle Grow potting soil and just put it right into soil. You don't even need leaf hormone. Just get Miracle Grow potting soil and whatever size pot you want and just plant it right in there. And it will do very well. Those are very good. They like it in that kind of Miracle Grow potting soil. So that should do very well by all means, Adrian.
Thank you.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Any other questions? Because I got a few more beauties to show you. Excellent. Now feel free to ask while I'm on the way. Okay. Now we have these beautiful fall aster. Right now it's just starting to flower. So whoever gets this plant on Friday, this plant should be with you till October. I purposely got a plant that isn't flowering because the buds are tight. So I want you to have at least till October. This plant is good, but it's an early plant for the fall garden. It's not for the later fall garden. This is a plant for the early fall garden. By October, most of the asters will be gone. But my personal thing is one of my favorite colors is blue. And the asters give a beautiful purplish blue flower. And this variety is a very good variety. It's very hardy and it can withstand warmer temperatures better than a lot of other aster varieties. That's one thing. But there's one thing I have to tell everybody right now, a heads up warning. If you do not like bees, don't take this plant because I will promise you one thing. Bees are going to be all over this plant. They're not going to sting you. They're not interested in stinging you. They're not vicious. But if you don't like bees, don't take this plant. That's the one downside of this plant, is that bees are very interested in it. They like the flower. It has a scent that the bees love. Bumblebees and the September bees. Those are the two bees that are interested in this plant. They're not harmful bees. The worst are the wasps or the yellow jackets. Those are the worst. These two bees are harmless, but if you don't like bees. Now, one question people have asked me about asters, is it better to put this in full sun or in the shade? I would say, in my opinion, part sun, part shade. I would say if you had to do full sun or shade, I'd probably put it in the sun, because if you look at the flowers, if you put this in a low light situation, the flowers will tend to, you'll have a plant, but you won't have many flowers, or the flowers will be very small. So my opinion to you is put it in full sun second, hot sun first. That's the big thing, because right now it likes light. There's one thing I would tell you that people have tried doing, it doesn't work, is they put the asters indoors. Unfortunately, the asters are not an indoor plant. They usually have a lifespan of about 6 to 8 weeks, sometimes 10 weeks. The cooler it is, the better. But unfortunately with asters, if they could be in a low light situation and you could put them in a shady spot, I think they could last a month longer. But the problem is that the shade is not good for the flowers. This has to have light, the flowers. So that's the downside to it. They're safe for your pets, so your cats or dogs go through the backyard. You have rabbits you head up. They're not gonna, it's not a harmful plant, basically. Water it every day. That's extremely important. Don't miss waterings, because if you miss waterings past 2 days, this plant will die on you. And unlike mums or other plants, there's no reviving these plants. That's the one downside to the asters. They have very deep roots and they like to be watered. So that is the other thing. But if you like blue, this is really good. They're great border plants. If you have a perennial garden, they're great for the borders. And right now, my favorite way is I like them as a specimen. I just like the color of it. And if you have a mum collection, a lot of people like to plant mums in clovers. You know, you have 5 or 6 mums. I would throw this right in there because you don't have purple mums. So this is a really pretty plant. Now I have a really interesting plant to show you. It's an ornamental grass. How many people are familiar with this grass here? Okay, I see Adrian is. Anybody else? John, or you, Amy?
That wheatgrass?
No, I'm not.
This is one thing over the past 2 years I have seen everywhere. In front of people's houses, office buildings, the condo complex where I live, they're everywhere. It's called bunny ear grass.
Bunny ear.
And for most of you, you live in Suffolk, you have nice houses, you have nice property, you probably have fountain grass. It's the tall grass that's about 7, 8 feet tall. And then you have another grass, which is the blue fescue grass. You know, the small one, it's blue. That's the grass you can't kill. It could be a snowstorm and that grass would survive. People don't want the tall grasses. They want a shorter grass. So this is the new thing, the bunny ears. And what's very popular about it is this, the beautiful white flowers. And they're really soft and they last you all year. So that's a very good thing. You buy this in April, this will stay like this right up until December. And what's also nice about this grass, and this is something I didn't know about till last year, it changes. See how it's a real green grass? What if I were to tell you that it will turn an orangish yellow, this grass? Now I have to tell you, I have another grass like this on the terrace. So somebody's going to get this grass, but I also have my own personal grass like this. And when I got that last year, I thought the plant was dying on me. That's just the natural colors. I've never had a grass change color on me. And I have a red grass, I have a blue grass, I got black grass. But this grass I thought was going to stay green all year. And the next thing I know, it's turning an orangish yellow. And that really goes good. It's like a little fire right there. You got the flowers and you got a little orangish yellow with green. It's like a little fire in the flowers, and it really brightens up everything. So I think this is a really great plant to have in your backyard. And it'll last you right up until December. We did not have a bad winter at all this winter. We didn't have any snow really. So weather-wise, the winter was good. Most of you know with ornamental grasses, you have to cut it back in December or January, and then it regrows next year. Well, I hate cutting my grasses back. I have a blue fescue grass. I've had that for 5 years. I haven't cut it back once. I've had this, not this particular grass. I've had this for a year already. I didn't cut it back last winter. I have a Japanese redwood grass. I'll show you that in a minute. I didn't cut that back either. It's a pain in the neck. So I will break the rules. Whoever gets this grass, if we have a good winter and it doesn't snow, cold weather you can't control, but if it doesn't snow, do me a favor, don't cut this back. Let this plant share its beauty with you. And yes, you'll have these nice, beautiful, nice flowers in the winter too. That's the secret. I've lived in the house from 1986 to 2004. So I planted my own house, my own grass garden. That was my parents' house. I was a teenager back in the 80s. And I got to tell you something. I never cut my grass back. Trimmed it every now and then. And we had a few bad winters in 94 and 96. I don't like to cut grass back. They have their own life. And this is a grass, I would say, next to the blue fescue grass you can't kill. The blue fescue is the easiest grass. This grass is the second easiest grass. And the other thing about this grass, which I'll tell you, I can't guarantee you, like the blue fescue, you can grow indoors. But let's say I give this to somebody and they want to grow it in the house. This could be an indoor plant as well. So just letting you know, I can't guarantee you that it'll do well indoors, but this could be an indoor plant too. And I actually have this grass in somebody's office. They have a very sunny room facing the west window. They wanted an ornamental grass. They did not want the blue fescue. I just threw this in there. I must be doing something right. It's living, and it's doing very well. Okay. Now I have another interesting story.
Yes. Yes.
Who remembers this grass? The Japanese redwood. Got the beautiful feathers here, and this is what the grass looks like. It's a reddish-green grass. Now, this grass has been on my terrace with me for about 4 years. I got this grass in 2016, and I actually got it in a 4-inch container, and I actually planted this quite a few times. And right now, I actually planted this in a proven winners container from Home Depot. I happen to have a spare container. I needed a big container because now this is about an 8-inch container. I bought it in a 4-inch container. And right now, this grass is about 2.5 to 3 feet tall. And right now, that's as tall as I want it to grow. If you want, this grass could grow about 4 or 5 feet very easily. A lot of people like this grass because it's a colorful grass. You know how the fountain grass is just plain green? A lot of people like to put this grass on each side of it. So you have the fountain grass in the center, which is like the 7-8 feet grass. It spreads out like crazy. Then they take this Japanese redwood grass and they plant one on the left, one on the right. This could grow about 4 to 5 feet, depending on how big you want it. I wanted only 3.5 feet. And guess what? It's compact.
Ask them which plants don't scare them.
What's the question? Okay. Kurt, what's your question?
Does that attract bugs? That's one of our concerns because we have, mosquitoes come into the backyard every day. And so with a grass like that I'm interested in, would I be just asking for trouble bug-wise?
I'll say this, Kurt. If what you just asked me, the ornamental grasses are the least likely to attract any bugs.
Okay.
So right now I'm going to show you an example. What you may ask me next. This flower here, don't worry about it. Not going to attract bugs. So if you don't like bugs or you don't like bees, the ornamental grasses are the thing for you.
Well, no, I love bees. It's the other bugs I watch out for.
Okay. Well, I got good news for you, Kurt. This plant is, the bugs aren't interested in this plant. Put it that way. So that's where I would go with the ornamental grasses to start. Bug free. You have a question. What's up?
Paul?
Yes. Who has the question? Who is on?
So,
Oh,
these,
go ahead.
these grasses, aren't they perennials that you could plant and they come up every year?
Yep, that's correct. You plant them, and the normal thing is they're beautiful. You cut them back, and then
Right.
in April they come back. Except I'm a little different. With me, I don't cut them back. You know, is there brown on this? Yes, I can show you some brown from, you know, the previous years in winter. Usually there's a little brown here and there, but basically, if we don't have a bad winter, this grass is hardy enough to stay and withstand the winter. So yes, they are perennials, but I like to change it and call it a year-round plant.
Mm-hmm.
You haven't had, the only bad winter we really had was that 2014 winter. That was the heavy, wet snow. Those are killers. Even in 2015 winter wasn't bad. Those were very soft snows. With the exception of the heavy, thick snows, this could withstand anything. That's the thing.
We have
Good.
big grass around our mailbox,
Yes.
and my husband has to cut it down, like during the summer,
Yeah.
before the fall, because it just grows like crazy and it covers the mailbox.
Yeah. You gotta
And
do
then
that.
fall, he cuts it all the way down, and then it comes up in the spring.
What I could say, each person has his like or dislike. Feel free to cut it down all the way. But another idea is, what if you cut it partially down? In other words, you cut it down because what you said, it's in the way of the mailbox. It's causing a
Yeah.
problem. But it's also very pretty. So what if you cut it down part of the way, then you have the mailbox, so it's at your convenience, and you have a thing of beauty for a little while.
After it flowers, then he cuts it down.
Okay, that's fine. Leave the beautiful flowers and then go to work. This is or at least cut down so you can get to the mailboxes. This is an eye opener. Very much. Kurt,
What
what's
kind
up?
of sun and shade does it need?
The one thing I would say about the Japanese red blood, like the blue fescue, it could go anywhere. Full sun, part shade, or believe it or not, full shade. This will thrive in shade, this one.
That's great.
So this is one that I would definitely recommend getting if you want grass. This is very good for the shade. And it's very good for the sun.
It's the Japanese red what?
Blood, B-L-O-O-D, red blood.
Redwood.
Blood, B-L-O-O-D, you know, like bleeding blood.
Oh,
Japanese red blood.
Cool.
Don't ask, I don't name the grasses. I just enjoy them.
okay.
So that is one. So that is a really nice grass you can get. And right now, I got a nice one to show you. Right now, for those who love growing perennial gardens, how many people are familiar with this sedum plant here? I don't know if you have seen them. Okay, Adrian, I see is. What I like about this is a new variety. It's called the blue sedum. That's the thing. If you look at the leaves, it's a bluish green. You see the leaves here? Most sedums have a really dark, deep green leaf, or maybe they're greenish yellow. This came out this year, brand new variety, the blue sedum. And if you look at the flowers here, they're very tight. They're going to open up in a couple of weeks, and they're going to be a salmony pink, which is really pretty. You got the blue right here, and then you got the salmony pink, and that's going to go great in the fall garden. And right now, Kurt, for the insects, you don't have to worry. It's not a big insect attractor. That's what I like about this plant. So they're very, very easy to take care of, very low maintenance. And right now, it's pretty hot outside. Not today, but this week has been very hot. Yesterday was 90. Tomorrow is 90. What if I were to tell you, you don't have to water this plant every day. This plant can get watered every other day. This is not a big water user, these plants. So you don't have to give it a lot of water. You can water every 2 or 3 days right now. And I'm going to tell you something, and I'm going to probably be questioned by a lot of people here, but here's what I'm going to tell you about the fertilization for this plant. Thumbs down. I don't buy it. You're still going to get your beautiful flowers. You're still going to get the blue color. And here's the secret. You're going to put this in a part sun, part shade area, and you're going to water it every few days. And maybe once a month, let's make this easy, once a month, you add a little bit of soil, the Miracle-Gro potting soil, which I'll show you, even if it's in the ground, and that's it. This plant here has a mind of their own. With the exception of the blue salvia, for you perennial lovers here, the salvia is the easiest plant. You can't kill it. That's like the plant you can't kill. With the exception of that plant, this is a plant you can't kill. Consider this the ZZ plant or the snake plant of perennials. Those are the plants you can't kill. So if people want an easy plant, they want to get started with something, this is the way to go. And this is great for the fall. It'll last you from, let's say, right now, right up until December. So fall-loving plant. In the summer, you'll still have these beautiful leaves, except you're not going to get the flowers. Flowers won't come until late July, early August. They're not open yet. And September to December, they're open. And they last a lot longer than a lot of varieties of sedum. I know a lot of people like the hedge stonecrop sedum, which is a pink flower, deep green leaves. They September, October. But people want things to last longer these days. Here's your solution. You have a sedum. Why have it last 2 months when you can have it last 4 or 5 months? Here's an answer to you. You get a good deal. Why have to worry about fertilizer? No reason to. The water, the putting in the soil, proper lighting, that's it. Animal-free, pest-free. I like simplicity, and most of you, I'm sure, like simplicity too. This is a plant I would definitely go for. Cool. Now we're getting to some controversy here. How many remember the Guinea impatiens? See, an old friend of mine. And I will tell you, I have given quite a few Zoom talks already, and I have had a lot of people saying to me, why are we showing a New Guinea impatient? That's not a part of the fall garden. What if I were to tell you it is part of the fall garden? And I purposely brought, and this is the plant for my terrace. Has been with me since April. You look at this plant, and there's a few flowers here, but there's not a lot right now. What if I were to tell you that's going to change? You got some nice little buds here coming up. You got about 20 of these little buds coming up on this plant. I will tell you right now, this plant could definitely be part of the fall garden. And it could not just be part of the fall garden for September or October. It could be part of the fall garden throughout the whole fall. By November, it's gone. Sorry, it can't be with you during Christmas. But it could be with you outside till November. Now, something's going to happen. See these green foliage here? It's going to start to turn yellow. End of September, beginning of October. Not all the leaves. Here's what people do. They think it's dead. No, it's the natural color of this. We live in New York. We have season. Leaves change colors. Unfortunately, the color with this is yellow. It is not dead. It's just the natural colors. Let it be. That happens. And right now, I would ask you another question. What if I were to tell you that you can have this plant as an indoor plant also? And Kurt, it won't bring bugs indoors. You don't have to worry about that. I can promise you that. But you can have this. And for those pet lovers here, your dogs and cats aren't going after this. They're not interested in this plant, and there's better things they can eat with. So this is a really good plant to have right now. And have it indoors. It could stay with you all year. I'll tell you how you can keep it flowering most of the time. You may have 1 or 2 times where it's dormant. That's okay. A few weeks ain't that bad, but most of the time will be full flowering. Normally, in other libraries, when I speak, I usually shoot down fertilizer. I'm not going to lie to you. I haven't fertilized this plant once this year. I'll probably throw in some fertilizer one stick and that's it, just so I can have flowers in the fall. But that's it. I had this all summer. I'm still getting flowers and I didn't fertilize it once. I'm gonna throw in a stick of fertilizer probably in a few days, so this way it flowers through the fall and that's it. So maybe throwing a stick of fertilizer once or twice a year. You don't need it, it's gonna flower. Just give it good sunlight, part sun, part shade, water it every day, and fill up the soil once a month. And if you do that, that's it. There's nothing, it's not a hard thing. These aren't the regular impatiens we've been growing up with. That's all. Every house you look at up until 5 years ago, there were impatiens in front of the house. You had to water it, you had to fertilize it. They came September, they died. These aren't it. These are New Guineas. These are easy. Headaches gone. So very, very simple how to take care of it. And enjoy it in your house for a while if you want. This is an indoor plant. And one favor, if we see yellow, don't freak out. It's part of the plant. It's part of Mother Nature.
I pull it off.
All right, let's go one more plant. My rigor begonias. And I know you're going to say most of you like the wax begonias, the shiny foliage. I give you that. I like them too. I like the rigor better. Look at these gorgeous flowers.
You have them all over.
And okay, so they're not shiny like the wax begonia, but the flowers, I'll do it. A wax begonia is an annual. They come in pink, they come in white, they come in purple. They last you throughout the year, and then you throw them out. Well, I like this better because right now I have a begonia plant, except it's not this. This I have two begonia plants that I planted together. I planted one white and one red together. But I have an orange one. It was a plant I had on my talk in 2015. I put it out on my terrace then, and then I brought it in for the winter. You know what? I never put it back outside, and it's still living in my kitchen. These plants do not die. And right now, these plants here, I would say fertilize them twice a year. You fertilize them twice a year just so you can get the flowers. I don't like these plants without flowers. That's it. Water once, outside you water once a day. Not a lot, just a little. Fertilize it once, say, every 6 months. You put in soil once a month, and that's very important, filling up with the soil. And that's really it. They're hardy, unlike the regular wax begonias where you have these insects put holes in the leaves. Those are the Japanese beetles, by the way. Or you have the rabbits where they start eating your flowers, or the squirrels. Basically, this plant is left alone. So basically...
This one.
What's up? What was the question? Okay, they're insect-free. But I'm going to go further and tell you this could be an indoor plant as well. In fact, I got a story to tell everybody. I got about 25 clients in Long Island. I'm doing about 20 of them now, still with the pandemic. And a bunch of firms, particularly accounting firms and law firms, have said to me, Paul, we're in a situation, we have to make dividers at our tables. So in the conference room, they want a plant that's flowering, but at the same time, they need it to divide. So I put plants like this right on the tables in a bunch of law firms, right in the conference rooms. They all have windows because you can't do it without windows. They need light. And what these plants are is they're dividers. So this way people know when they're going across the table, they know how far to go. Because we're through thank goodness we're coming down with the pandemic in New York, but we still got to be careful. And they're very concerned with social distancing. And I've used a lot of these plants for social distancing. One thing I've also noticed in the diner in Syosset, and it's called Celebrity, I love that place, they're starting to put plants like this on the tables now. And the reason they're doing it is because they need to have the social distancing. Not with 2 or 4 people, that's okay, but you get 8 to 10 people, they want to make sure that people are social distance. And this is a great divider on the table so things don't get wild. And that is one of the smartest things. I picked it up from them, and I'm starting to do that in people's offices. I'm actually using this as a divider because right now, instead of having all these Zoom conferences, they'd like to have more people in the conference room, but they have to maintain social distancing. So if you look at this plant, It's not a tall plant. It's a very pretty plant. I think most of you agree it looks pretty. If we go into a conference room, it gives you a homey feeling. At least, you feel very comfortable. But at the same time, we're killing two things with one stone. It's good for social distancing. And that's a very important thing. Now we're going to show you something interesting. This is the fertilizer you use right here. This is the fertilizer you're going to use. The Miracle Grow spikes. This will do wonders for you. Not the water, not these, not the powder and the water nonsense. This is the thing. If you do this, you will have plants thanking you. And that's the thing right now. Tomatoes. I use this on my tomatoes. I use this on my hibiscus. I use this on my corn. And corn did not do well. I only had one year this year. It was a crazy summer. Strawberries. I still got strawberries going. Broccoli. I still have broccoli going in my terrace. String beans. I still have my string beans going. And my house plants too. This is used for everything. And if you use this, this is the answer to your problems. Who had the hibiscus here that grew very tall? I think that was you, Barbara. Oh, that was you, Adrian. Guess what?
Yeah.
You want it to flower? Here's your answer right here. 2 of them. 2 of these sticks, Adrian, and your thing will be solved. And that will take care of the yellow leaves.
How often?
How often? Not too often, every 6 months. You don't want to do too. It's better to under-fertilize than over-fertilize, but right now, from what you're telling me, 2 of these sticks, Adrian, that's going to solve your problems. And then we're going to end it with one last thing. The mother's book of all this. The soil. And this is the most important thing. This is the soil I recommend. Miracle Grow potting mix. And this is very important because people here go to Home Depot. I know most of you have a lot of land. And you know what you get? The gardening mix. You still got Miracle Grow, but it's the gardening mix. I don't want you to get the gardening mix. I want you to get the potting mix. Major, major differences in this. There's only one thing that's the same between the potting mix and the gardening mix. You want to know what that is? Miracle Grow. They both have fertilizer in it. But here's what it doesn't have. We have some heavy rains coming. We've had some heavy rains. You know what happens? You put in the regular Miracle Grow gardening mix, it turns to mud. There's no peat moss, nothing, no vermilite to absorb. This is like a sponge. This will absorb. So right now, that's very important. You get a heavy rain, you have a vegetable garden, you have a perennial garden, you don't see puddles everywhere. This will absorb everything. The regular Miracle Grow gardening soil does not do that at all. Second, now this is a favorite. How many people here have tomato plants? And I can guess almost everybody here. You don't even have to, I can look at you and we all have tomato plants. Well, my friends, here's the story. Right now, you just watered like crazy that beautiful tomato plant, the big boys, the better boys, the patios. And guess what? 10 o'clock the next morning, it's 80 degrees, and you're looking at the tomato plant. It's like I never even watered it. And it's like, what the heck just happened? I watered it like crazy last night. They dry up very quickly. Here's a little advice. Put the Miracle Grow soil like this. This will hold in the moisture, making this watering tomatoes a lot easier, because the hardest job with the tomatoes is keeping them moist. They're always drying up. This is going to help you a lot with tomatoes. And that's one thing I can tell you. Another plant, I'll talk to the flower lovers. Hibiscuses, not the Hawaiian punch hibiscus, but the regular hibiscuses. You water it, it dries up. This will hold in the water. So this is a kind of soil. Miracle Grow gardening mix. That's the story. So right now, I strongly recommend this. I have my own interior landscape business for 25 years. I've been into gardening since 1986, and I've used the Miracle Grow soil all this time. And I can tell you, it does wonders for me. It will do wonders for you. If you haven't used it already, you'll see what I'm talking about. Now, 2 more things before I end the talk. On Friday, like I said, 7 people here will get a call from Susan. She's going to pick the names out of however she does it. and you will go. It's a beautiful plant. So not everybody's going to win it here. Some of you will win it. I have no control, unlike the other time you saw me last August here, but you will get a plan. And the other thing is, and I do this with all my Zoom talks now that I can't see people live, if you have any questions for me, one thing I tell people to do is friend me on Facebook. You can see my schedules, where I'm going to other libraries, or if you have any questions for me, question me on Facebook. We have a lot of people doing that, and it's really worked wonders. If you don't have Facebook, just ask Susan for my email address or Eric, and they'll give it to you. So my name is Paul Levine, and I have a very easy face to remember on Facebook. So that is the story. So before I leave, everybody, any questions? First Kurt. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay,
Oh.
I've got lilies of the valley in a shady part of my corner. I've had them ever since I moved here in the 90s. Is there any way to propagate them and make them spread?
Just go out with it. They're in the ground, right?
Yep.
Okay, just go out with your trowel and divide them. Just cut them right in the middle, divide them, and you can make probably 3 or 4 things out of it. Put them in other areas. Put them in containers if you want. Put them in other areas. And you can probably, from what you're telling me, make 3 or 4 things out of it. You keep your original, but you can divide it into 3 or 4 things. And hey, you just made
Good question.
new plans.
Thanks.
You can do, my friend. You can do it. Yes.
Quick question.
Okay.
Hello? Hi.
Yeah.
I just received a gift as a campanula, and
Okay.
I placed it outside in the soil, but it seems like it's just drooping. Am I doing something wrong? And it's supposed to have like bellflowers.
Okay. This is an extremely important question. Where outside is it? Full sun, part sun? Give me your location.
Partial sun, like
Okay.
when the sun moves, and then the other part of the day, like now until later the day, it's shady.
Okay. So it's part sun, part shade, right? All right. Here's
Yes.
when you're okay. If it's not full sun, we're okay then. I want you to give it a good watering. And the Miracle Grow soil that I just showed you, I want you to start putting that on. That'll hold the moisture. And I'm going to say something I usually don't say. I want you to take the stick of Miracle Grow fertilizer, just give it a shoot of it. This way it gives it some vitamins, and that'll solve your problem. No big thing here.
Oh, good. Okay. I water it every day, and I'm like hoping and running over there before it gets beat with the sun. And
add the soil. You need to add that soil so it can retain the moisture.
so some miracle sticks.
Yeah, that's the fertilizer. That'll give you the nutrients, gives a quick shot of energy. And the Miracle Grow potting soil, that'll hold and retain the moisture for you.
Perfect. Thank you so very much.
You got it. Amy, what's your question?
What vegetables should I plant now?
I would say I would hold off for now, and I'd wait about 2 weeks. Broccoli, lettuce, spinach. Those 3.
Oh, nice.
Those would be the 3 I would go for, the broccoli, the lettuce, and the spinach.
So
And
do I have to have, so do I do starter seeds like I did with the tomato, or how do you?
Here's what I would do. I'd go to your local plant store or go to a Home Depot and just get it already grown. Much easier that way.
So lettuce, spinach.
And broccoli. Oh, and cauliflower too. You can add cauliflower.
How about squash?
Squash, no, that you need time. That even already grown plant, you need more time. Squash is a plant that they have really big flowers. You need to give it months to grow. It needs at least 4 or 5 months because this is a big plant with a lot of big flowers. So you would need to plant that in May or June. Right now, that can't be a fall flower. It's just too. You need a lot of time with squash.
It's like still growing and it's requiring, some of it is.
Oh, no. If you have your squash growing already, that's fine. Squash could go right into the fall. If you take care of it, you could probably have it.
Yeah, no, you answered my question. Like some from scratch, lettuce, spinach, broccoli.
Yeah.
Okay.
Those would be my 3 recommendations.
And not from seeds.
Go up, get it from the store. It'd be much easier, much better, less headaches. Simplicity works best, my opinion. Okay, who is next on my friendly list here? We'll go around once more. Any other questions? Okay. My friends, it's been a really true pleasure. And in 2 days, I hope you get a phone call because Friday morning I'm delivering the plants to the library. And again, if you have any questions or anything, friend me on Facebook and we'll take care of it. Eric, did you see the fertilizer I showed you for the squash? Use those sticks and that'll take care of your squash thing.
And also
Okay.
the tomato thing, because I have tomatoes that are growing.
Yeah, and I grow
Yeah.
tomatoes and I use that on my tomatoes quite a bit. It'll do the trick. So like I said, I'll be over, Eric, on Friday morning with the plants.
Okay.
Okay, before I go, good luck everybody with winning the plants, and it's been a true pleasure speaking with you today.
Thank you, Paul. It's been great.
Yeah.
Take care. Thanks, Eric.
Thank you, Paul.
Thank you.